Hey everyone, Ari Abramowitz from 613 Survival. Again, you can follow this video on YouTube on the 613 Survival channel. Today we're going to be talking and actually making you guys build shelters. We're out here in the woods. We have actually a beautiful view over there. Way back behind there is New York City. It's hard to see in the distance. What we're doing is we're going to learn today about building a shelter and that you're going to do on your own. What you see over here around us is we have a big hiking trail, open area, where there's some places that if you were stuck in the woods, what are you going to do? It happens, you're walking, and all of a sudden you're like, uh-oh, it's getting to a point that it's going to rain soon, or I can't get out from where I am. And so there's a few things to remember. There's a rule of 3. You guys can remember 3? You have 3 minutes without air. You could survive for 3 minutes without air. 3 hours without a shelter. What that means is all of a sudden it starts raining, and you get soaking wet, and you get cold, and you get hypothermia. Really, really dangerous. A person could pass away after 3 hours. So what you want to do is really make sure that you take care of yourself, that you get a shelter as soon as possible. And you know what the other 3 is? 3 days without water. A person could survive for 3 days without water. And the fourth thing is you could survive for 3 weeks without food. Yep, you could survive for 3 weeks, but you still need water and you need to have shelter. So what we're going to do over here is we're going to look around and see what can we do to find a good shelter spot. You see, I'm looking over here. I see, hey, I want to try to get something that can keep away from the rain, and also a spot that, maybe I could take, it will help me. There's already parts of it that are sheltered, and I'm going to look around, and look what I see over here. I see a tree that fell down. You see it falls into that part. Well, maybe I could do is start taking pieces of wood and blocking, making a shelter for myself. Look at this spot right over here. You see there's a nice, beautiful area of rocks. If I now take wood and put it all over this, now I could have a really, really, really nice shelter. So what we're going to do today is we're going to give you a challenge. You're going to find outside your house, you're going to find a spot where you're not worried. Again, you have to be careful. Always careful. Safety first. Make sure you're being safe. You don't want to be in an area where all of a sudden, if there's a lot of rain, it could all of a sudden flood the whole area. So that's important. The second thing is you want to make sure that with whatever you're doing, that the ground under you, that on the ground there's nothing that all of a sudden you see is a big puddle of water. You don't want to be stuck in a puddle of water. Also look to make sure when you're looking at the ground where you want to start building a shelter, you want to make sure that there's no bugs or ants there. Again, not one ant. I'm not worried about one ant, but you want to look around. Look over here on the ground. Do I see, I'm looking down here. Are there any ants? Is there a lot of ants coming around? Because sometimes you could fall into a place where there are ants, and all of a sudden you could be sleeping on them and they can crawl all over a lot of people. So we want to make sure that we're just not in that type of area. But this looks like a great, great spot. Again, there are rocks over here. So what I'm going to try to do is move that rock away. And what I want to do is I want to take some strong pieces of wood. What you want to do is at home, you want to find some big, big pieces of wood. Look at this over here. See, you got a little Y shape. The Y shape could be a lot of times the best piece of wood for you, as you could put in another piece of wood right into it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fill those pieces of wood with strong pieces. What you want to do is collect big pieces of wood, go around, find all different pieces of wood, okay? You're going to find thin ones, you're going to find thick ones, and you're going to bring them all together. Once you have them all by your side and you're ready to start getting ready to build the shelter, again, you want to have a lot of wood. And then you're going to say, okay, what else can we do besides for the wood? Well, you know what you're going to need after you start putting on the wood? You're going to want to start building above it. You're going to want to take smaller branches. But on the bottom where you're going to be sleeping, you never want to sleep directly on the ground. Because in the winter, for example, the ground gets very, very cold. So you don't want to be sleeping on it. What you could do is you could take a lot of pieces of wood and you can actually make for yourself a bed out of wood. And then you put on top of it, you could put some grass. You could put some, if you find some mud, just whatever it is to make it comfortable for yourself, but you're not sleeping directly on the ground, because when you sleep on the ground, the heat actually goes out of your body faster. And what we're going to learn on a different day is you're actually going to make a fire right near where your shelter is so you could stay nice and warm. But today, the main thing that you're going to do, the challenge is you're going to have to do is build yourself a shelter. Again, I'm not showing you how to do it because there's no right or wrong. There's no right, like, oh, you have the best shelter, you have the worst shelter. It's every kid is able to make their own shelter. And the point is you want to try to make it as waterproof as possible. If you have things in your backpack that are with you when you are hiking that you say, hey, I have a plastic bag, let me use that to be able to cover up a little bit of it to make it more waterproof. What are the other things that I have on me to make things more waterproof? Try to find different things that will help you be able to make it. Now, the goal is It's going to take some time. It's not going to be perfect your first time doing it, but the point is that you get used to the idea of putting together a shelter for yourself. And when you have a shelter, again, it's going to be really, really fun. It's the first one you're going to make. Might be a little funny. It's not going to look perfect. You know what? Don't worry about it looking perfect. Your job is just to try to make it. And then again, when you're done making it, give it a little shake. Make sure that the wood's really strong and it doesn't chas v'shalom collapse if someone's inside. Again, you have to think of safety first. You don't chas v'shalom want to get stuck on the inside. If you want to be extra careful, put on a bike helmet. A great way to do it from your house. Just take your bike helmet while you're doing it. Again, you're doing this by yourself alone. That's what we want to practice today. Finding yourself a good shelter spot. I'm going to look for some other spots over here. See, what do we have around here that I could use also as a good shelter area? I'm in the woods right now. And what are some other spots that if I would need to be out here in the woods that I could use? So look around. You're looking around with me. I'm trying to see where's a good spot. Hey, look at this. This over here is not a great spot, but let's say I was by my house and I only had this area. What I would do is I would actually try to put a bunch of pieces of wood all over this, make it for myself a very, very thin, but be able to lie in there, to be able to keep myself nice and dry and warm, but it will also block me from the wind. But I would try to find places that are more covered as much as possible. And then again, look over here at this tree. Right over here at this tree, you could put right in here in this tree, there's a beautiful, beautiful Y. What could you do with a Y? You could take a branch. Look at this branch, you see? Putting it in over here. I put this in right here. Now you're gonna wanna make it strong. Once you start making it strong, you can start adding on other pieces all around it to make it nice and strong and sturdy for yourself. What we're gonna do is we're gonna lock it in, try to find a good piece to lock in. Then from there, we're gonna start building around it. We're gonna start getting it together. So that's what we would wanna do, is try to find Y pieces of trees, and then from there we could build it. Now again, make sure you also look around. You look around on top. Up, you see I'm looking right above me. Right here, let's see how the trees are. Making sure that there's no loose trees around. You want to make sure there's no loose trees that chas v'shalom, if there's a storm, could all of a sudden fall on a person. So now this tree over here already fell. So I'm not worried about it. You see it fell right into the Y over there? So that looks like it's strong. Again, you could just check it out by giving yourself a little kick. But what I like about this tree is that it's already in the ground, it's sturdy, and you could really start already building from here a shelter that you could be right under that as well. This is also a great spot. Another thing to make sure you're also careful about is bees. You don't see right now in the winter so much, but sometimes there's bee nests. In the winter, bees usually, the bee nests are dead. But then again, once it starts getting summer, just look around as well. Make sure there's no bee nests, because you want to make sure that you're safe from that. Okay, now, any more questions that you guys have, you could write in the comments. You could send us a message, send us a WhatsApp of how you'd want to do it. I'm also going to give everyone a chance to send us their pictures of their shelter that they made. Again, you're going to make your own shelter. And again, we'll be able to give feedback as well, see how your shelter's going. And again, you're going to be able to have opportunities to make fires tomorrow. We're going to start doing different areas. But this is the first thing, just making yourself a simple shelter in the woods. Again, if you have a woods right near your house, go do that. If you have just a couple of rocks, be creative. If you have things around you that you find you're in the woods, and all of a sudden you see yourself, you see that there is a broken down car, you see there's different things out there, use those pieces that are around you to be able to make yourself the most successful shelter out there. Again, there's no winners on who's going to be has the best shelter, the most beautiful one. It's the one that's able to protect you from the rain. Again, so we have the rules of 3. You have 3 minutes that you could be without air. You have another 3 hours that you could be without shelter when it's raining from hypothermia, once it starts getting cold. And I've been hiking out when it started pouring rain, went through all my equipment, and it started getting really cold, and at night it gets very cold. Then you have 3 days without water, so you got to also make sure that you're near water as well. But we're going to go into all those safety features and details of what to do when you're in the woods, when you're going and you get chas v'shalom, you're hiking and you get lost. But for now, guys, looking forward to seeing you build a shelter. Again, it's going to take probably a good hour or so, a good hour or two. Parents, again, be there for your kids if you want to help them out. If they want to do it on their own, that's a great way to get them out there. Again, you could just check it to make sure it's safe. Again, this is the first step in just getting them out into the woods. And once you're done this, just check yourself. Make sure, if you're a parent, check your kids to make sure there's no ticks on them. Even in the winter, there are ticks around. So again, you check behind the ears, check over your whole body. They do crawl. And again, ticks are little tiny things. They're little tiny black pieces. They get stuck. You could almost not even see them. Just check for them. Make sure you're all taken care of. And with that, guys, looking forward to another exciting adventure tomorrow. We're going to be learning about fire building and other adventures. So come join us. Again, stay safe, and we will see you soon. Again, for 613 Survival, this is Ari Abramowitz. See you so long, and subscribe and share with your friends. And look in the description for more details of what you can get, what are other things, what are other opportunities that are coming along.